Hey, it's good to talk to you again, I guess. I am Mackenzie Quintana. I am your hostess here at the Genuine Ginger podcast. I'm so grateful for you to spend your time listening to me. I know that there's a lot of options out there, and I know that your time is precious, and so I just really value you listening to me. And today's episode is gonna be good. I don't really know where it's gonna go, but I was sitting here thinking about. So I actually was just sharing in my Instagram stories about kind of about what last episode was about. I hadn't shared with anyone really about my husband buying a new truck. We shared some pictures on his family chat, but I hadn't really told anyone else about it. And I was like, this is dumb. Like, this is a really cool and exciting thing for our family. And I don't know why I felt like if I was going to share about it, then it would come off as like being cocky or whatever. And I was like, that's dumb. I don't want to keep playing into that belief that we can't share good things that happen to us and that we can't be happy for each other when good things happen to other people. And so I went ahead and started sharing about it in my stories, and it ended up turning into I don't know. And now I'm sitting here having all these thoughts. So, okay. So I shared in my stories like that, God, that I've been sitting in a lot of gratitude over the last few days since we bought this truck, and as I've been just sitting in that gratitude and allowing myself to feel gratitude for this new truck and all of the opportunities that it's going to provide for us. We went on a really fun little family outing yesterday to a spot near us that I've never been able to go to because we've never had a vehicle that could get there. It's not a good road. And so, I was sharing about that and just feeling really grateful for this truck and the fun that it's going to bring to our family and just the new, fresh, high vibe energy that it's bringing to us. And I as I've been sitting in this feeling of gratitude for this new truck, and this is kind of what I shared in my stories, that I felt like God was just like smiling down on me as I was sitting in gratitude, like feeling grateful to him. Like, I feel like he was just kind of like, he's been just like looking down on me, like, yes, this was for you guys. Like, and I am so happy to give this to you. And like, it was such a fun surprise to give to you. Like, I feel like that has kind of been like what I have received from him as I have been sitting in gratitude. And I feel like, so like I feel like, and this is what I shared in my stories. Okay, I'm gonna stop saying that. But I feel like God wants to do that all the time. I feel like he has so many fun and exciting things planned for us that we don't have planned for us, that we don't allow to happen into our lives, right? Like, oh my goodness, my kids. 1 second. Okay, one of these days I'm gonna be able to get through an episode without an interruption. But yes, I feel like God has just so, actually that's probably never gonna happen, but it's fine. I'm just gonna accept that reality. It's fine. I feel like he has so much in store for us than what we have in store for ourselves. But so often we're afraid to allow him to step into our lives and to bring us these special things because it doesn't seem logical, or it doesn't, like, it feels scary and we're not sure how it's going to work out. And he's just like, it's okay. I got it figured out. And and sometimes it's these big things, maybe like a new truck, and maybe it's a smaller thing, like you get a $5 rebate in the mail. I feel like if we don't practice recognizing those smaller things from him, that recognizing and trusting that those smaller things are from him, then when those bigger things come, it's going to be harder for us to trust that those bigger things are also from him, and so it's okay to accept them. Anyways, so that's kind of what I was sharing in my stories to kind of relate to last week's episode. And as I was sitting here and I was like posting about that, I was having some guilt. I don't know if guilt is the right word, but but some judgment, I guess, for myself, because I think I mentioned here and there that I recently, and it's kind of ongoing, but I recently had a really, really, really big trial in my life, like a really big trial, and not not very many people know about what happened, and I hope it stays that way. It's very personal, and so I was kind of in a really hard, down, dark, hard place for a while recently, and and then and now here I am, like, sharing about, like, oh God, and he's so great, and look, we got a new truck, and life is so great. And so I was thinking that maybe as I'm sharing about this, these few people that do know about what has been happening in my life were maybe having thoughts like, wow, she's kind of a hypocrite because she's talking about her life being so great because God gave her a new truck, but yet a couple months ago her life was shit. And sorry, I don't usually swear, but that's kind of what it was. And she's not sharing about that. And I've learned that what I think other people might be thinking about me is actually what I'm thinking about myself to some extent. There's a part of me that is thinking that about myself, that is thinking, wow, Kenzie, a couple months ago, you were having a really rough time, and now you're making your life look like it's all fine and dandy and perfect. And as I was thinking about that, what came to me was, and so I was trying to kind of feeling into this and thinking, like, okay, well, is that really how I feel? Like, is there really a part of me that feels like I'm being cocky, maybe, or like not really portraying myself truthfully, or just, I don't know, like, just I was just trying to see, like, is there really a part of me that feels that way? And what I realized is that, like, I don't think that there is, really. I think, well, I don't know, I guess there is, but it's not true, because in those times that still come up, when, that period where things were very intense and very hard, I still relied on God. I still prayed to him every day. And I still knew that he was there in those hard moments. I don't believe that he brought that trial on me intentionally, but I know that he was able to take that trial and turn it into something beautiful, and that I never lost sight in who he was, who he is, and in all of the gifts that he has given me. And even in those hard moments, I when I really stopped, I could see the gifts that were there, and I could feel peace, just like I can feel so much love and peace and gratitude right now when I'm not necessarily in the thick of that trial anymore. And I'm having some really neat experiences and neat things happening in my life. And as I was sitting here thinking about that, another thought that came to mind was something that I've learned about over the last few years, and it's these things called universal laws. And just like there are, laws of physics and math and different things, 1 + 1 is 2, and that's just how it's always going to be. And the law of gravity and whatever, there's also laws by which the universe is governed. And one of those is called the law of polarity. And what that means is that for as much darkness there is, there has to be an equal amount of light. And I believe there's always an equal amount, if not more, of light and goodness. And I've shared this in church a couple times in just different meetings and conversations that, we talk a lot about how there's so much darkness in the world, and there's so much, Satan is just rampant, and there's so much evil and darkness and wars and just terrible things. But if that is true, which it is, then it also has to be true that there is just as much, if not more, light and good and amazing and magical and remarkable things happening in the world. And I think that if you look for that, you can see that. And just like that is true on a massive scale with the world, it is also true in your own personal life. That when there are crappy things happening to you, you can expect that on the flip side, there's going to be some amazing things happening to you. And I think that is up to the person to recognize and to look for and to receive. Like I said, like I started out saying, I think God is so eager to just sprinkle fairy dust all throughout our lives, in the hard moments and in the moments where things are okay. He wants to bless us more than we can ever imagine. But he can't unless we let him. Unless we say, I receive. And sometimes receiving means signing for a vehicle that you're not entirely sure how you're going to make the payments on, but you're just trusting because you felt that peace from him that he is going to help you. Sometimes receiving takes a leap of faith. It takes a step into the unknown. But something that I am practicing leaning into even more lately is just being okay in the unknown. Being okay not having everything figured out and having an exact goal and mission and vision for your life. That focusing on trusting in God, trusting that he has a plan for your life, and that as you can just step in and allow him to take the wheel, things are going to be greater and more beautiful and magical than you can ever imagine. I think that was all I needed to share today. Let me sit here for a minute and see if anything comes up. But yeah, I know that feels good. I guess, yeah, like don't believe for a second that anyone that you see having a win didn't have any hard things before that or after that. Like, we are all going through ups and downs in this life. The older I get and the more that I experience life in my own, personal life, and just being more aware of other people's lives, the more that quote that, like, you be kind because you never know what someone is facing, what someone is going through, but really, like, that is so, so true. And so, like, we don't need to judge people when they're sharing about good things that are happening in their lives. It's okay for us to celebrate them. It's okay for us to celebrate people's wins. And it's okay for us to have, I was going to say, it's okay for us to expect that they're not always winning. But that sounds a little bit like, why do we need to expect that? We don't need to. It's okay. It's okay if someone is always winning, but I guarantee they're not. Okay. I think I'm going to end there because I will just keep rambling if I don't. But I thank you again for being here. Thanks for sharing my podcast. Thanks for leaving your comments and your reviews and all the things. I really enjoy this podcast. I enjoy sharing these thoughts with you, and I hope that they're helping you in your life. And God bless. We'll talk to you next time.